I want to congratulate you and We the World on the 20th anniversary of 11 days of global unity. Together, you, me, and we can create a better world and have fun doing it.
Thank you, Dr. Jane Goodell, for helping We the World and all our partners to celebrate over 20 years of 11 days of global unity. And thank you for joining us. Welcome to the 11 Days of Global Unity Summit. My name is Birgit Ben-Eli, and I'm the Director of Strategic Engagement and International Outreach for We the World. Today, I'm excited that we will be joined by Subrata Banerjee, and our guest for today is Ashish Damle, who will be talking about interdependence, the second theme of the 11 Days of Global Unity. For the full 11-day summit schedule, you can register for free by going to 11daysofglobalunity.org. 11 is a numeral. There you can see all the 11 days broadcasts, and at we.net, you can take action with the 11 campaigns for change, subscribe to Trans Magazine, and you can make a contribution to support all this work by going to we.net/donate. Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge some of our amazing partners who we support and collaborate with during 11 Days of Global Unity and all year round. The UN International Day of Peace NGO Committee, Peace Day Philly, the Unite for Peace Coalition, which includes Unity Earth, the Sign Network, One World, Hubcast, The Awakening World, We the World, May Peace Prevail on Earth International, United Religions Initiative, Pathway to Peace, Global Silent Minute, Children of the Earth, also Climate Week, the Deep and Rapid Transformation Convergence, Good News Broadcast in Times Square, and Pace e Bene Nonviolence Campaign. So what an amazing movement representing literally millions of people working to achieve global unity. Now let's bring in our host, Subrata Banerjee. Subrata is an international development and policy advisor at We the World. He has over 18 years of experience advancing gender equality and transformative social change. He has led programs with the European Union and Plan International, advised governments across Asia, and collaborated with UN agencies and the World Bank on policy reform, gender and climate justice, and women's leadership in peace processes. Recognized for his research and advocacy, Subrata brings expertise in evidence-based policymaking, addressing gender-based violence, and fostering systematic change for collective well-being. Welcome to the broadcast, Subrata.
Thank you, Birgit, for the nice introduction. And today we are really very happy to have within ourselves a renowned social worker, international development professional. He's recognized by the international audience as well as international practitioners around the world. His contribution has been wide range of field, especially in child protection, emergency issues, tsunami, and many other challenges that are happening around the world. And we know that he's also a very specialist in crisis management and leadership. He worked across many countries, including Bangladesh, Afghanistan, India, and many other countries in the South Asia region, in which, as we know, that there are plenty of challenges, issues of crises, political crises, refugee crises, disaster response. Lots of issues, challenges are there, and in which globally international organizations, UN agencies, they jumped on it and take care of the population who are at risk, high risk of their life. And he is doing the one of the greatest challenging work actually in Bangladesh, where lots of people are in great trouble. And at the same time, he's not only leader in crisis management situations and the programs, but he's also a great conversationalist, eloquent lecturer, and he's also a good writer. And in every office work, whether he is working in every country, every day you will find in social media that he is doing a new experiments with the serving the community, serving the people in response to various challenges and crises, which is extremely rare in our international development. So it is extremely important that he is doing all this great job for the humanity at large and for the best interests of the community around the world. And today we have Mr. Ashish Damle, and we invite you to have a lecture on particular issue, eroding trust of civil society organizations and where we need to go. And there are lots of challenges we are facing right at the moment that we are not thinking about it, how much we are facing, what kind of things are there. And this kind of analysis will help us to go deep down to understand the various challenges, nuances of the global aid system and the culture, history, and a lot of things are happening. And he is exploring these very intricate and very complex ideas, and he will bring us new light, show us new light on these issues, how to go about it and how to take action on this, so that with the help of civil society organization, our society can move forward with the passage of time. Thank you. I would like to I would like to request Ashish Damle to offer his lecture. Over to Mr. Ashish Damle. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Subrata, for such an elaborative, expansive introduction. I hardly deserve it. And thank you, Birgit, for your introductory remarks. This 11 days of global unity, I guess, is definitely a strong reminder. But of course, the unity goes beyond 11 days. And more than ever, this sector and all of us who are in the space of development and humanitarian response need to be far more united than what we were or what we have been. Today's this whole lecture is all about the eroding trust in the entire aid ecosystem and exploring why is this important in the context of the interdependence. And I would like to structure my argument or my thoughts in three different areas. I would like to explore it from the point of view of the philosophy or the values in which the whole sector works, has evolved over the years with his own historical connects. How have we transformed, and how our connection with the community and the entire aid ecosystems evolved over the years, and how trust was visible, evident in those past transformations, and where we see gaps now. I would also like to touch upon the entire aspects of the relationship with the political environment in which the aid ecosystem is right now transiting through, and how this is being absorbed and how this is being perceived by the communities across the globe, and what is our connection with those who participate in the form of giving and who are participating in the form of receiving the aid, and where this entire connection or disconnection that now we being observing. And third, I would like to put it across through the perspective of what exactly the future holds for us. How are we going to work around it? And what are the key lessons that we can learn from the current and the past experiences that we have had, so that as we move forward, we have something concrete to hold on and something concrete to look after, and we can support each other. So to begin with, let's understand that why this trust is so significant and why this has been sometimes not really being given the kind of importance it actually deserved. As we know that it's not only the domain of or dedicated domain for the aid ecosystem, but trust is um, as significant as it's even in the private sector, where it is earned painstakingly. Trust is in the product, where trust is in the service, and the most importantly, the trust is in the intent. In any private sector, there is a massive efforts is being given in terms of how uh, the company or in an enterprise can earn the trust of its customers, and all the people who are associated with the organization, and how can they retain it. There has been part of it even in the business studies. Unfortunately, in the eight system, it was more or less being treated as an inheritance. And that is the reason perhaps the kind of attention should have been given to the trust was missing in last few decades. I would like to bring your attention to this, our history. How have we evolved post World War II? Most of the agencies started their work in out of compassion, as they have seen the aftermath of the World War II. Although there are, they say that there are certain groups who have been victorious, but eventually everyone understood that particular event in the humanity has more destruction everywhere than gains. And that is where many compassionate humanitarian came together, and they basically decided to respond beyond the boundaries. And that is how many organizations formed. Many of them are known organization, whether it is CARE, whether it is Oxfam, Save the Children, Plan International, have their all birthing stories or stories of their origin are somewhere in this backdrop of the World War II. And at that point in time, when they started their work, and this compassion was quite contentious, many organizations, many people from different walks of life came together, and they actually celebrated this spirit of volunteerism, where they actually worked together in whatever capacity that they had at that point in time. Eventually, these missions translated into sophisticated organizations, and at that point in time, they actually invested in terms of connecting with people of both ends to see that how these people, despite all the hurdles that they had at that point in time, we can imagine that there was no technology as we have it today to communicate, to tell the stories to people who are in the UK or who are in the Europe and other parts of the globe, to tell them that what exactly the sufferings that are there in Africa or other parts of the region. And they establish dedicated channels. They came up with innovative ways. For example, Oxfam started its first charity shop somewhere in 1947 formally. But this charity shop was not just a shop to sell the things. It was basically a place where Oxfam volunteers used to tell the stories to the people, that what's exactly happening around the world and how we are creating this impact. This connect was invested, this entire aspect of being with people closely and informing them that how we have been trying to work along with the communities, what are their desires, expectations, how are we contributing, how are we learning from it, what mistakes we are making. So that level of connect and that level of transparency, which I feel that we are missing right now, despite having all the kinds of technologies at our disposal, where actually this should have been quite easy. Nevertheless, as we have evolved, we became more of an organized aid enterprise. We became a system in ourselves. And perhaps that is where we had started taking things for granted. We became the organizations who were managing massive resources. As we know that the aid sector, as it stands today, it is $200 billion plus kind of a sector. Not many people know about it, that what exactly the volume of money that we are talking about here. Very rough estimates talk about there are approximately 30 to 35,000 international organizations which are active. Some of those also estimate that more than 65,000, but that includes even the social enterprises and social impact ventures and some of the bilateral multilateral institutions. But if I make even conservative estimate, there are 35,000 international organizations having their footprints more than 2 or 3 countries at least. Some of them are the big clubs where their budgets used to be. It's not the case of present, but just a few years back, Oxfam, Save the Children, Plan International, Care International, these organizations, their budget used to be anywhere close between $1 billion or $2 billion. So we can imagine the scale and the kind of workforce, the kind of systems that these organizations accumulated, evolved, and carried out along with them. Unfortunately, these systems, as they evolved, did not pay attention to what level of trust that we should induce in this system itself. The kind of transparency that should have been there, which should have been more radical than what it used to be in the past, is missing. Somewhere we started taking the people who have been supporting us for granted. And that happened as we started taking this money from the institutional donors. More in 1960, as UN was more active by that time, and the UN convention happened about the most developed countries. It was not a convention, but it was more or less an agreement at the UN level that the developed countries will contribute more than 0.7% of their gross national income to the development of the less fortunate countries. These international agencies then started getting access to those kind of funds, which were quite large in the volume. And as that institutional funding started flowing into these systems, it becomes even more difficult, or I would say that people became more ignorant about communicating to the actual payers of that, who were paying the taxes to the government, and from that taxes, this money was routed through these charities, where communication was not as effective, perhaps, as it should have been. Although they have, of course, dashboards, they came up with solid system of showing impact. They came up with solid system of reporting, the publishing of annual reports, certain principles, values. Their websites are like quite enlarged in terms of knowledge that they create and learning that they gather from the communities, etc. So it's all there on the display, but then there is the kind of proactiveness that perhaps should have been there. It's somewhere missing. I remember, when the Plan and Save the Children, they used to have, even World Vision, they have this sponsorship model where they used to sponsor a child, and these children used to write letters to their foster parents, and there used to be direct connect between the one who is receiving this benefit and the one who is contributing to it. Somewhere that system has also been taken away, whether it is in the name of child protection, whether it is name of in the rights-based approach, more of a community-centric work rather than individual case work, etc. But when we were coming out of it, we did not realize that we are actually pushing away people who are actually contributing. We are just the agents between those who contribute and those who receive, and we are the custodian of that public trust. Unfortunately, we started considering this resource as our own hard-earned resource rather than we treating ourselves as pure custodian of that trust of somebody else's money. We are actually translating to somebody else. And therefore, when we created these systems, we became gradually very expensive model. As we know that every $100 that is earned today, only $30 to $35 actually go to the community. And even within that, if someone does a very micro level of analysis, that how much of that $35 actually contribute into the change of a life, it could be even less than a $5. So obviously, we are an expensive model, and we would have realized it far more earlier than now. Why I'm saying that the trust is eroding, and despite knowing these facts and figures before us, we are unable to respond to it effectively as we should have been, is only because we have become more regressive, rigid, bureaucratic in our own outfit. We have become too large to manage our own weight. Somewhere we should have thought through that how are we going to evolve, and when we are evolving, how are we going to present ourselves? Are we truly representing people's voice, or are we infusing our own opinions about issues that we think are of important? And that is where the critics have started questioning us. If you read this interesting book called White Man's Burden, you will see that how these charities who have transformed themselves from a more philanthropic model to the rights-based model, as in the 70s and 80s this transition happened, uh, they started working around the ideologies. They started working around the value systems. And then they realized that some of these values of equity, equality, gender equity are missing in terms of the representation of how people are organizing themselves. Somewhere we started working with the fragile countries who were new democracies, who were young in their early stages of democratic government. We started working on policy development. We started working on their nation building. And we had an acceptance at that point in time, because we were bringing in a resource, because we were bringing in some new perspectives into those countries. And we started taking them that as granted, as if like we hold the all knowledge, as if we hold the entire understanding of the ecosystem. And that is where we started connecting with people from the space of authority unintentionally. If I have to identify a particular point in time in the history where the trust was started cracking, it is in this space where we actually started working on cosmetic terminologies, as if partnership, as if going to the instead of talking addressing beneficiaries, we started coining new terms as project participants. But underline, we were actually exercising a very colonial way of delivering knowledge, delivering perspective, delivering values, delivering knowledge, delivering standards based on our own understanding that was more centralized, that was somewhere accumulated and evolved only in a particular place where there was a lack of space for diversity, I would say. As we know, when a value based, value driven system evolves, it has its own side. Of course, it gives a very strong ability to work on our own standards and reflections, and it gives tremendous power to the people who can come together with compassion, because this value is some sort of a connect between the people. But then there is a slippery slope. Sometimes these values also translate into a dogma. Sometimes that becomes an invisible, unsaid condition for connecting people. There is no space for those who perhaps have different sets of values. We start grading ourselves. For example, if I come from Oxfam and I talk that we are the feminist organization, so somewhere I have already rated myself that I am on a different space, and if you have to connect with me, you have to be feminist, and you have to be feminist the way I interpret feminism is. And that is where we are basically trying to tell the world that I am different. The moment we do that, there is an indirect impact of how the other world is going to perceive you, and there will be, of course, a trust deficit around that why should I subscribe a particular set of belief to even connect with you. Unfortunately, we haven't addressed these kind of questions. The second argument, as I said, that it is all around the systems in which that we evolved. How have we created this system? The very reason for us to create those systems is to introduce more of a transparency, more of an insurance that the delivery of our programs is corruption free. It's more robust. It where people are participate. They have all freedom to connect, to even complain if they are not satisfied, and so forth and so on. We remain compliant to different governments and different systems. However, while doing so, we created a systems burden in such a way that it becomes extremely difficult for us to take little risk around what exactly people want to say. uh, we started taking them for granted. We created conditions around that, how we are going to work with these local partners, NGOs, and there was some sort of an hierarchy that was created, and that is quite visible even in terms of the way workforces are being managed in the entire aid ecosystem. And we haven't given enough attention that when the standards are being created, how these standards are actually going to translated into a ground level work. And that is where you can see that the level of the way the workforce is exposed at a very grassroots level, and the workforce of an international organization per se, how they conduct themselves, is completely different. There is certainly a kind of a class differentiation between two. And when then that is quite visible to the community and to the people, the question arises that what exactly are you achieving, where you are creating the impact. um, this is where I guess that the current aid ecosystem is right now grappling with, despite making huge interventions. And I won't say that everything was a failure. Of course, the aid ecosystem has created massive impacts, whether it is a polio eradication, whether it is creating civil society movements and organizations, where it is about creating different level of policy dialogues and different legislations in many countries. The aid ecosystem has contributed a lot. But when you compare it with the cost invested in it versus the outcome that we have, I think we have a lot to reflect. We have a lot to introspect around it. We have very limited data to actually substantiate our existence all this while, to justify that we matter. Um, and that is where perhaps I think that currently we are losing the ground. When the USAID meltdown started, honestly speaking, it was not about the budget, or it is not about the funding crisis. Of course, that's one part of it, but it's not the first time that the aid ecosystem has actually experienced the funding crisis. There have been multiple such occasions in the past where the entire aid sector has gone through some sort of funding crisis, whether it is the Great Depression, 2008 economic meltdown. We have survived through all of that. But what is different this time is the political shift. This time it's very different is because when these decisions were being made on social media these days, it's all visible. It was very difficult. There was no single mass outrage against it. In fact, when some of the leaders who were defending the existence of this international organization, this entire INGO model, and if you see on the YouTube in the comment section, we will hardly see any comments that are actually supporting these organizations. And that is quite a signal that this silence, or this rather kind of a support to these outrage decisions of withdrawing commitments by the government unapologetically, is not coming from the political leaders. So just saying that there is an upsurge of a so-called right wing around the globe is impacting this, it's not because those people are not fallen from sky. They have been elected in many of these countries, and that means they are serving to their constituencies. And that means somewhere people are also fatigued, fed up, asking questions to this entire aid charity model. The massive blow happened, as we know, that in the entire sector was 2018, when the entire scandal about the sexual exploitation of the beneficiaries, from one of the Oxfam staff, uh, which had happened in 2012 or so, but it was all broke down in 2018. That actually was the watershed moment, I would say, in terms of trust. People were heartbroken. People did not have any explanation that why they should be still supporting these charities in whatever way they are. And that is where perhaps the massive change should have happened. It has happened. I would say that it hasn't happened. But what we have done internally, if it is not communicated well, consistently to people, then that change becomes meaningless, because people do not yet know that how our entire grievance model works, how our entire safeguarding model works, how are we more trustworthy now, how our systems are more robust now. That is not being well communicated as it should have been, more proactively. The third aspect is about the radical transparency. We say that we are transparent. Transparency, accountability is one of the core values of almost all the organizations. But at the same time, we are equally secretive. Uh, the way aid flows, it remains an affair between the donor, us as intermediary agent, and then the local partners and maybe the grassroots level partners. But anybody else, if you would like to come in this chain and would like to ask questions, there is hardly a space for us. We do expect a lot of open budget system from many governments. We do expect governments to open up on this right to information, etc. But when it comes to the aid systems to be subjected to right to information, we have our own reservations around it. Whether sometimes it's the name of the GDPR, or sometimes it's in the name of our own accountabilities to the donors' commitment, etc. But we do not have an adequate, strong system to introduce this radical transparency that can earn more trust. In short, we are falling short on investing ourselves in earning this trust. Now we have to do a double effort, because we have lost that trust in some or other way. We have to actually make sure that how are we going to earn it back. And that is where I guess these efforts like United to have this entire dedicated space period of global unity works around us. As a solidarity, as a matter, there is no harm in having an solid acceptance to the critic that we have. It's a constructive thing to actually look at more critically ourselves and to say that how can we evolve better, how can we have more sustainable, cost effective, cost efficient model of delivery of programs, how can we be truly partner in the way we actually preach in our values, how our values will be more of a motivating driving force to us and not an obsession and dogma in which it becomes a condition for us to connect with the world. How are we going to evolve together with the communities with whom we represent? So these are the questions on which I think the entire sector has to ponder. There is this weird competitiveness which we have to really reflect upon, and to see that how can we shift ourselves from being competitive to more collaborative. What's the harm of doing things together, not just because we are a consortium member or alliance member, but because we are all connected by a shared purpose. So this is some sort of a thing that needs to be now evolved in practice into the way we are making ourselves look to the people. We are a connect with the people. We have to respect mandates. Sometimes we do have our own disagreements with set of people who come to rule the government, but if they are coming through an elected mandate, we cannot reject that mandate outrightly. We still have to engage. We have to learn an art of a diplomacy in which we can remain engaged even with those where we have ideological differences. Only that will help us to earn that trust, because people like you to see that how are you going to remain engaged. You can have your opinions, you should not be compromising on your non-negotiable values, but that doesn't mean that you can create an echo chamber in which only a select few will have an entry to have a dialogue with you. So that is how this whole trust needs to be now looked at. Lastly speaking, as we move forward, and as we now going through massive transitions, many organizations are already on their design table. They're working out how are they going to restructure themselves. It's very important for us to know that whether we are going to solve this as a current problem, how are we looking at it? Is just a problem? It's a funding crisis? Is it like a temporary political shift? Or this is something, a paradigm shift? Because that's going to change the entire way as how are we going to evolve? How are we going to change ourselves? So in my view, it's very important for us to go back to the people and to say that we have to actually address the root causes. We have to actually see that how are we going to change in a way that people want, not just to respond or reactive to the current problems, but we'll have to really see that we have to introduce new aspirations where people will have more say in a way we actually approach. We have to become more humble, and we have to really embrace the kind of practices that we have been preaching all of these years. We have to practice them, we have to internalize them. There is a lot of work that is going on decolonization. This is a new terminology, along with localization, where we are expecting the local organizations to take more lead and all that. But it should not be cosmetic. It should not be just because we do not have money and we are losing the ground. It should be truly empowering. We call it as a power shifting. We acknowledge that there has been an accumulation and consolidation of power only in the certain countries just because they were more resource worthy and more resources were generating from them. But that should not be the approach. There is a power in every victim. There is a power in resilience. These communities have been surviving all these years against all the odds that they have been experiencing in their lives. And that power, if not recognized, will not be able to harness it. So it's not that our understanding of power needs to be shared with them. They will not be resource worthy very soon. So it's very important that how are we going to recognize those power and harness them in our way of work. So that's basically going to help us in terms of addressing this trust erosion. So before I end, I would like to put an appeal, an action that let's have a solid reflection around it. Let's take this discourse beyond our own boundaries and talk to people as how much they trust on us and what kind of systems that they may like to have. This is a time of technology. If we cannot use it now, when we can use it? This is a time of artificial intelligence. I think we have a lot that we can use as an instrument to harness, to earn, to sustain, and to grow this trust in the ecosystem where all people, irrespective of what their values, beliefs, can participate in this positive change in the society. There is truly a need of an aggregator of good at this point in time. And if we fail to do so, the world will, fall apart. It will have no trust in any good. A lot of people are doing what they can do in their own individual spheres, but that will not have a solid impact unless and until we have this aid ecosystem coherently adhesive, connected with each other, and we together we actually create that impact. So it's not about I or you, it has to be about we. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and sharing my thoughts today. I hope that I have made some sense, and I would be happy to answer any questions that we may have. Thank you so much, Subrata and Birgit.
Thank you so much for your excellent speech and the very interesting lecture. Actually, I have not listened this kind of lecture earlier, and it was not only relevant in our time, but also a wake-up call for all of us to have the new ideas and new thought, and uh, to follow up this kind of pathways. Most interesting thing is that we all are working, but we are not looking around right or left or behind, or uh, just like the horse which have two sides blocking some ways to see that you have to see look through only the front side of the spaces where you are running. But when you are running in front of you and looking only in the front, you have to look around the right and the left and behind what is happening around the. When you are not looking at it, then lots of mistakes could happen, and very slight, very small mistakes could bring a large scale hampering for the society, large scale issues, challenges for any society. And we are not looking into it. That creates lots of problems for us. And you correctly pinpointing some of the challenging issues of why the trust is eroding. For many times, many years, I have been observing and experiencing this kind of things. But I had some discussions with some of my colleagues, some of my senior officials, but I didn't get any response from them. They said, don't bother about it, just go for job, finish your job when 10 to 5 your duty, and forget everything about it. I said, no, if we forget everything about it, then this system will not sustain over a period of time, because it takes time to think. Each and every day when I am going to work in the office, I have the new ideas that I have to do certain kind of new things for the mission. So, what kind of challenges ahead, and what kind of things I can do? And I might have hundreds of work, but in which area I have to give priority to it, and to set the goals for the organization, set the goal of my career, set the goals of my community, people, nation, everything. So this kind of wide views and universal ideas is very, very lacking in most of the civil society organizations, and they are just working, doing something for something what has happened. And advocacy is important thing, but lots of time I have seen that they are very much interested about advocating their own branding, own organization, instead of branding and doing work for the people with whom we are working. So it is important today's world that we are forgetting about those people with whom we are connecting. You said very nicely how you are connecting with people. It's extremely important. You said very, very nicely, storytelling is important. And it is important not only for doing a good narratives of this to changing the system, but also changing the values and culture of the people. Because most of the people, those who are not in a position to understand the reality, global reality, the local reality, they are not in a position to connect with the local issues, challenges, with the global problems and issues. So that creates another kind of huge problems. And there, when there is a shifting of political power, shifting of political change, and new systems, new ideas, new things are there, that is not fitting into the our existing system, existing culture, values, for which we have been delivering a lot of things, delivering lots of goods, developing lots of system, and that system is gradually collapsing economically, politically, socially, culturally, in every aspect. So that creates a lots of pressure on us, everybody. So, and the first thing you have said, the management issues we have not thinking about. We are spending lots of money, and the global organization, they have lots of money, and they have producing this money and collecting this money extremely difficult for each and every international organization. It's very hard work. It's very hard work to get $1, to get €1 from any country, from each individuals. Extremely difficult. And I know many people where even they are very poor in Europe, many other countries, but they are happy to give this kind of donations to the organizations like Oxfam, Save the Children, many other international organizations. Why they are happy? Because they are thinking, yes, I have just a room, just I have a living room, I have some food, two times meal, I can take care of it. But the people who don't have any house, who don't have a square meal in a day, so they are suffering a lot. They don't have money to educate their children. They don't have money to go to hospital. So they are doing this kind of things out of their compassion. So compassion is one of the greatest attribute of doing this kind of work that we are all doing. And the second thing that you have said very wonderfully, exploitation within the system of the civil society organization, extremely bad situation. And it's not only in Oxfam, I'm saying overtly that it is also in the system of SOS Village Children International. I was very surprised to see that where an organization committed lots of things. 18 years of children, they are committing 18 years of children from 1 year to 18 years, still they are getting married. They are taking all kinds of responsibilities. But who are serving these people, the mothers, the other staff, they are not getting their dues. They are not getting their dignity within the society, within the professional culture. They are exploited in many ways, even sexually, physically. They are harassed within the society, and children are harassed within the home, children's home. It was extremely bad situation, shocking situation. I had one of my colleague who was child protection officer that time in Asia regional countries. I told them, why you are not picking up this case? Tell them in your report that this is happening in these villages, and show them this report. This is happening. Look at it, headquarters. What is happening? So we are also challenged this kind of things. But at the top of it, who are sitting at the top of it, they suppressed all these things in their report. So this is happening. So this is not the way that we can do any kind of social work for the best interest of the community people. Number three is extremely important, is transparency. So as a civil society organization, we are teaching a lot of things to government. We are saying ourselves non-government organization. It's good, non-government organization. Why we are saying non-government organization? Because government has no capacity to deal with each and everything of governing system development. A lot of things government need to look into it. So government always not in a position to deliver this kind of goodies to the people, to the best of the interest of the people. So that is why non-governmental organization grown up, and they said that we will be supporting you, we will be doing helping you to do your job. And at the same time, they are not only doing their projects or doing all these kind of things. They are supporting policy development. They are supporting implementation strategy. They are supporting verification. They are supporting management. They are supporting leadership. They are supporting every way, and they are showing the results. That is most important things. When you see visible impact on your eyes, you can see that what kind of role are playing by the NGOs and civil society organizations. This is extremely important. But government is doing a lot of things, but we are not seeing the results. Civil society is showing the results. And across many countries, across in India, in many villages I have been visited, I have seen wherever NGO is doing work, wherever NGO is doing some good work, there is a lots of changes happening. It's not a big issue of money, big issue of big amount of money, a big amount of people are there, but it is good sense, good sense of people and hard work some of people, that every day I have to do some certain kind of good work for these people. It helps to move a society beyond their capacity, and it build up the capacity of the rural people and the urban people to take forward their mission, their individual mission, mission of the community, mission of the society, mission of the nation. So in this way, that's why you are saying all this way, that extremely important to we have to do collaborative work. The collaboration is extremely important. So whenever I work with many governments, both in India as well as outside of India. So some of this time I have seen some organization, they have some kind of restrictions, some kind of initial hesitation to talk with government officials, to talk with high bureaucrats. I said, why you are doing this? Let us talk. Let us do certain kind of things. Let us see what could happen. Yes, I know their policy is not matching. Their policy is not always good. They are not doing something, something good for society. But let us change. Let us change in certain way to have certain kind of dialogue with them. If we don't have any dialogue with them, we'll never be able to change anything for these people. So I bring people, all these people with my team in some different countries, and talking to policymakers and senior government officials. And when I started discussion, I led the team discussion and discuss a lot of things in very nice way. And they said, yes, you are right. You are saying very good things. And they said, yes, we are writing down whatever you are suggesting us, And in future course of time, we will be doing this kind of things so that our community, people, our children, our women will get this kind of results in future course of time. So this could happen. Secondly, you have said our shared values and purposes. This is extremely important. I always say when I started work in an urban project, some people are looking, saying very bad things to these children who are living on the street, who are living in the slums areas. I said one day, I talk with them one to one, argue with them. Why you are doing this kind of thing? Why you are saying this kind of things? I said to them, if we do not take any kind of responsibility of these children, our society will never ever change. So change will happen from the grassroots level. If you don't intervene at the grassroots level, no society can change, go anywhere. So your condition, the right now you are staying in the big building, but your condition will maybe change in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years if you don't change these people to upgrade their status, social dignity and culture, and their improvement in social economic terms. So after that they realize and they'll stop. So this is important, a shared purpose. And practice, and you said very nicely, practice is important. Practice. So we are saying a lot of things, but practice is missing in some ways. So we need to do a certain kind of practices that will help lots of people. if if I get 1 day or 1 minute time in our work, if I do certain kind of good thinking about a disabled children, a disabled student, helping a disabled children to come over to her place, it will be wonderful to show the people that yes, she needs some kind of help. Please, as an institution, you can support that child. It is important. Another thing you said that diplomacy is important. Ideologically, a lot of things are happening around the places, and we need to have certain kind of ideas that we have to understand their situation, their ideas and thoughts, and discuss how to go about it. Yes, we might have differences of our ideas, ideologies, but at the same time, uh, we might need certain kind of diversity. We might need certain kind of diverse ideas. Diversity is important. It strengthens our society. It strengthens our economy and culture everywhere. You go to today's America, today's UK, they will not be in a so powerful country in this world today if they are not opening up their doors for the international community. USA is today most powerful country because they are enriched with the internationally. Lots of people are coming there, lots of brain, lots of ideas, lots of intelligence in one place. So they will have lots of intellectual diversity, and that is why they are gaining all this kind of credits, all this kind of information, everything. They have done a lot of things. So this is important. Another thing is restructuring. This is the high time, I think, as you said, this is eroding trust, this is time restructuring, how to go about it, and how to rethink and revisit our ideas, old ideas, and how we think about it in future course of time, so that civil society, I'm still thinking, as I was looking at some of the world's best university of US. They are saying that without civil society, no society can go ahead, because all the people, especially in civil society, they are highly committed. Even there is no fund, even there is no bread and butter for them, they are fighting for it. They are fighting, doing certain good things for the people. So this kind of commitment you can't have all in every occupation. So civil society is doing excellent work in many countries. But at the same time, if there is any challenges, they have to collaborate with each other to find out their way out. So you have to restructuring our system, restructuring our ideas, and restructuring our thoughts, how to best collaborate with the other people, and to push forward the movements of the peoples for development. Another things you have said, that decolonization ideas and system change. And yes, this is extremely important. If we don't do the change of system, sometimes it creates lots of problems. And the changing a system needs also lots of collaboration, lots of ideas, lots of dialogues with the government. If we don't do any dialogues with the government, if we are not do training to the government officials, it will not change. Initially, I have seen lots of issues, challenges with the government system, and because yes, they are a system, they are for a long time, they are maintaining certain kind of values, culture in their systems, but they are not changing. But when I start working in every organization, I said I have to talk with the government official first. I have said I have to do this kind of things first with the government official. Let us understand what is their views. When I understand their view is completely different, they don't understand the development perspectives, what kind of things we need to do, and they are very much conservative. Then I first want to discuss them to make them educate about what kind of things you need to do for this, your development, and need to change your system, need to change your perspective and ideas. So I organize training workshop for all of them. And it's training at workshop is not only 2 days, 5 days training workshop within a closed door meeting, but also one kind of training I also giving to them, one-to-one discussion. It helps a lot for the policy managers or government policy makers. So I think a lot of changes are happening in that respect. So there are scope. There are lots of challenges that they are ahead of us, ahead of NGOs, ahead of government. But we need to do lots of work together, so that in future course of time we can do a lot of work for the government as well as civil society, as well all the people, for ensuring social justice for all. So that's all I think. And before ending your talk, I think it will be both of your colleagues are waiting. It will be very wonderful if they share some of these their ideas and experiences briefly, and after that we will have a little bit of discussion with you, and then after that we'll be closing. So welcome to your colleagues.
Thank you so much, Ashish and Subrata. That was an absolutely fascinating and important conversation, and especially your presentation, Ashish, on eroding trust in international ecosystem. It's not that it's only powerful, it's so timely and so deeply important. And I appreciate how you illuminate the dynamics of giving and receiving, and alongside with the connection and disconnection, which is built into the system. And it was thought-provoking and again necessary. And it's very interesting, the vision you offered from meaningful solutions and pathways, towards partnership and collaboration. It's very interesting. For 11 days of global unity this year, we have, in different contexts with different topics and theme, it resonates what you are saying. It's not within the context of international aid, but it comes up again and again and again, that we have to listen to the base. We have to, as you said, decolonize. So I really appreciate what you were saying here. It's so important and so much needed. And I think many people don't even know, what, as you just mentioned, that there's a disconnect between those who give and those who receive. And I think this trust has to be rebuilt, and then also has to change, as you just mentioned, as an example, the numbers of, if whatever is given, how much ends up those who should be at the receiving end, but only get little, and a lot gets lost on the way. I don't even know if this is. I mean, you work in this. Where's the crux in this? I understand the disconnect. I understand that we have to rebuild this, but where is the disconnect that so much gets lost on the way that, if they are lucky, 30% of the aid that's given is received at the other end? It's just incredible. But thank you so much. So I'm not sure if you still like to contribute, but what I do like to do, again, I appreciate both of you very much. It's a much needed conversation and presentation. What we do at the very end, and I know you offered solutions. We do a call for action. And so perhaps, Ashish, you would like to go first for a call for action. With him, what you just, you mentioned that already, but I'd like to give you the words, and then Subrata, and then we round up and close here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Subrata, for your re-emphasizing and summarizing some of my thoughts. And thank you, Birgit,
Ashish
for
ji,
your candid appreciation. Yes,
Ashish ji, can I take one moment? So
sure.
before you discuss, I think your two colleagues can join also here. They can also listen to it after that, and they can also share their experience. Two colleagues are there, I think.
If they're
One is
available,
left now.
absolutely. Oh,
Yeah,
One
I'm
is
so
left
sorry
now.
about that.
they are left.
Two
It
of them
is such an
left.
important
It's too
conversation.
yeah. It's kind of a late in this in
Okay,
Bangladesh
okay.
Yeah,
now.
I
Yes.
So
apologize.
no, no, it's
But let's
okay.
hear from
It's
you. But listen, this is a conversation that this is not the, this is the beginning probably of many beginnings, and that is the conversation that has to continue. So, I'm sure we will have other opportunities and possibilities.
opportunities. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and we
So,
can
but
perhaps
thank you.
organize in a big way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please,
Okay,
please
so
go on.
well, in terms of like moving forward, first of all, is it hopeless? No, it's not hopeless, because we need to really understand that there are people, there are institutions, there are organizations which are quite open to this very strong constructive critique coming on their way, and they would like to move on and to see that how we can still do better and more effective, more efficient in our way. So, in terms of call for action, first is it's not hopeless. We still have a
Yeah.
reason to be hopeful. We are all connected by shared purpose. Second thing is we have to give it a chance to the young generations with innovative ideas. Many times the solutions come from much younger minds than the old people who have been quite heavily bogged down within their own systems and understandings. So let's give it a chance to those who can offer more innovative ways of making us more efficient. And third call for action is very importantly that, as your title suggests, that this unity is extremely important. It's
Mm.
not a cult. We can have our differences, we can have our shared opinions and entitlements, but it's important still to be connected by that shared purpose that all of us want a better world for us and for our children. So let's take that as a common thread to connect each other. And in that sense, this whole networking spirit is extremely important for us. I'm sure these days technology is such a handy thing that it's not a big thing to connect, somebody from a Bangladesh to someone in the US and to have a nice civil dialogue
Mm.
on the issues of importance without losing a penny, so that is very important as we can harness this technology. So let's be unite, let's continuously work around it. I'm sure there are a lot of solutions that are coming our way. Platforms are being created, people are addressing it. Let's participate, and of course there will be a rise, there will be a fall, but eventually we'll be keep moving forward, and that is important in my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. This was so beautifully said. Subrata, would you like to add a call to action?
No, I think the main thing that whatever Ashish ji has described, explained, is extremely important. Apart from that, I would like to just mention one thing. Ashish ji said that younger generation is important to deliver lots of innovative ideas, good things. Yes, I am also supporting this in many organizations, anywhere. But at the same time, I also argue that apart from younger generation, I also emphasize the importance of ideas of the people, of the children whom we are supporting, because they are beneficiaries. Sometimes we are ignoring. They don't know anything. They are just taking the benefits of this kind of projects. But no, they are living on the same village, they are living on the same community. They well understood that what is happening around them and what kind of dreams they have. So let us discuss with them what kind of dreams they have, what kind of problems they are facing in their life, to become to go to school, to have certain kind of facilities for them to grow up in their life. So this is extremely important. Do we ask any children what you need to be, what you want to be in future course of time? Some might be have some kind of good ideas to become doctors. Some might have become good engineers. Some might become teachers. Some might be becoming want to become social worker. Many things could happen, but we do not ask them why. So it is important to ask them and try to understand them, try to understand their ideas and thoughts, and make them make them some kind of assurance that whatever the problems, challenges they are facing, we'll be trying our level best to overcome these challenges so that they can fulfill their dreams in future course of time. So this is important. So I think this is one of the most important, and restructuring already we have discussed, and we have already discussed restructuring not only the organization, but restructuring of the aid system, so that each and every aid that someone giving from different countries through Oxfam go directly in some ways to the beneficiary, so that that fellow and that beneficiary will get maximum amount of benefits out of this kind of charity. So this is important, and once this has happened, I think you will see the change is happening, impact is happening worldwide. So that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Subrata. So I do not want to add much more here. What I can only say that I agree with both of you, and I can echo what you said. And I agree it's very important to include the younger generation, whether young people or children. I think children come from a place of purity and innocence, so their input is often more valuable, and not valuable, but it's equally important to listen to them. And but I think it's also intergenerational, because there's also a lot of wisdom from those who are not among the younger generation. Yet I agree with you, Ashish. Many of those who are already in the system for who knows how long, they live in an echo chamber, and they are not able to see outside of the chamber in order to create some change. So yes, I wish and we hope that there is some intergenerational, with a tendency or focus on younger people, because they are our future. They're the future. It's our future. It's their future. It's their planet, and that's we can integrate these voices. So thank you to both of you for your vision and for showing us what shift is needed to a more equitable and inclusive, and unified ecosystem and worlds. And I appreciate that you were with us here. So I just wanted to mention at the very end here, the We Power campaign. It's about the power of we, which means millions of us are coming together to transform our society, to prioritize the common good. And it doesn't matter whether we sit in Bangladesh, India, United States, or anywhere in the world. That's the beauty in our today's world, that we can connect like this. So to help us launch the We Power campaign, please go to we.net/We Power campaign. And with that, I'd like to thank you both again, and thank you for everyone watching this and for being part of 11 Days of Global Unity. To get involved, go to we.net. Together, we can create a world that works for all. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.